Would you tap the Attorney General in the state to investigate what's happening in city schools?
We need to make sure that local jurisdictions are both getting the support, but also have the measurements of accountability.
So tapping the AG is on the table?
Yeah, we're going to be in close conversation with the AG.
The inauguration ceremony is over, and now the work begins. I'm Olivia Danson. Coming up next, we're taking a closer look at how Governor Wes Moore plans to tackle concerns in the classroom.
I think there's some blank spots there that need to be filled in.
Maryland lawmakers set to debate a gun control bill that could limit where legal gun owners can actually carry their guns. Details about the move and the pushback.
And you're looking at some live pictures outside this morning as we track a weather maker. We're kicking off Thursday with some showers with rain, more rain on the way, tracking the impacts to your morning commute.
The deadline is here. United States could hit its debt limit today. What this means for you.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Fox 45 News is on top of three big stories for you. New leadership is set to take on issues impacting Maryland residents. We question new Governor Wes Moore on his plan to address a struggling education system here in Baltimore.
Our recent changes to the state's juvenile justice laws fueling crime among young people. This morning, our exclusive interview with Senator Jill Carter, who is behind the move to change the laws.
And a Baltimore City school police officer, also a star football coach, reportedly under investigation by the FBI. We have some new information that's raising serious questions about how he earned hundreds of thousands of dollars in overtime.
What I will say about Detective Smith is this. He is a unicorn in our police department. He is one of one.
Paps, Olivia Dance, and Shannon Lilly standing by with details on all of those stories for us. First, an update on a weather maker moving across our region. Thanks for waking up with us on this Thursday, January 19th. I'm Megan Gilland.
I'm Tom Rogers, and we already are seeing some showers move into our area here and across this morning, the region here. You're looking at live pictures outside. We're expecting the rain to pick up as the morning goes on. Stay with us. A large part of the day, that rain will continue.
And on top of this, temperatures will be dropping. We have live team coverage on this. Meteorologist Amy Aronson live in the Chevy Storm Tracker with the very latest conditions for your morning commute.
First, though, we want to check in with meteorologist Justin Chambers here in studio on the current track of this system. Justin.
Yeah, good morning, Tom. Megan, good morning to all of you as well. We're starting off with a lot of cloud cover. Some of us have seen a few light showers this morning, but overall have not dealt with that heavy rain just yet. That is, however, on the way. As you look at our HD radar, most of the rain right along the Maryland-PA line, north on 83 as you head up into Pennsylvania. Other areas have seen a few showers in the northeast sections up towards Cecil County, and we're seeing a few showers just south of D.C. right now, but overall, a lot of us are dry at this time. I still have a yellow light there for your morning drive because in the next couple of hours, that's when that rain is going to be moving in and temperatures staying into the lower 40s. Let's check in with meteorologist Amy Aronson out there in that Chevy Storm Tracker. And Amy, we've been talking about how that rain is not really quite here yet.
Yeah, exactly, Justin. And you can see that from the windshield here in the Chevy Weather Authority Storm Tracker. We are just hopping on 83 and about to head downtown. You can see the gray, gloomy skies overhead. So the clouds are here. We're just awaiting on the rain. And we haven't seen a ton of rain so far this year and so far this month. If you take a look at our 2023 rainfall so far, we're only at 0.3 of an inch. So we do need some wet weather. On average, at this point in the month, typically, we're well over an inch already with 1.7 inches of precipitation. And of course, we haven't seen a whole lot of rain, and we definitely haven't seen any snow so far this month. So as the morning continues, we're going to keep an eye on the conditions out here. As you can see, it's dry right now, traveling along 83. But I'm also going to break down some numbers for you. I'm going to break down some typical snowfall amounts and let you know how that compares to what we've seen so far this year. Back to you guys.
Maryland, it's time. Let's lead and let's do it together. God bless you all, and thank you so much.
An historic day in Maryland, the state with a new governor, Wes Moore. He is Maryland's first black governor and the third black person to be governor in the United States. Aruna Miller is the state's 10th lieutenant governor. Both Moore and Miller are children of immigrants. Well, now that the party is over, the work begins.
Yeah, we have live team coverage this morning. Shannon Lilly is looking into the growing trend of young people involved in crime and how Governor Moore plans to address that.
First, Olivia Dance is live in Annapolis as we question the governor on how he plans to tackle the education system. Olivia.
Yeah, well, in Baltimore, the problems in the classroom are clear, so there's definitely a focus on how Governor Moore will help students. But right now here in Annapolis, there are still some road closures, not this road that we're on right now, but cleanup is underway after yesterday's inauguration ceremony. And Moore says that today is a working day. He's already outlining his vision for education in the state.
We do not have to choose between giving our children an excellent education and an equitable one.
Fox 45's Project Baltimore has been reporting on some of the failures in the classroom for years. In the first 3 quarters of the 2020 and 2021 school year, nearly half of the 20,500 public school students in Baltimore City earned less than a D average. At Augusta Fells, just one high school in Baltimore City, the state's Inspector General for Education launched an investigation following Project Baltimore's findings of ghost students. So far, city schools are already paying more than $350,000 back to taxpayers for students who were on the enrollment books but were not in class. Right now, the Inspector General for Education cannot pursue criminal charges, but yesterday Fox 45 News pressed Governor Moore for a decision on how he will handle the investigations moving forward.
Did you tap the Attorney General in the state to investigate what's happening in city schools, since they do have the authority to further investigate and perhaps prosecute if there's a criminal element there?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing that we are going to see is we're going to be working both with the Attorney General's office and also the local school jurisdictions in Baltimore and throughout the state. Because if we are going to achieve the things we're actually trying to achieve, we need to make sure that local jurisdictions are both getting the support but also have the measurements of accountability that are going to be necessary in order for our students to be able to, our students to be able to perform.
So tapping the AG is on the table.
Yeah, we're going to be in close conversation with the AG and with local jurisdictions.
And we will continue to hold Governor Moore to his commitment of accountability. And coming up later this morning, we're taking a closer look at some of the other concerns in the classroom and how they're being addressed. But for now, reporting live in Annapolis, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 Morning News.
Thank you, Olivia. What do you think? Should Governor Moore request the Attorney General's office investigate problems in public schools? So far, 99% of voters who have responded say yes. You can weigh in by going to foxbaltimore.com/vote.
Well, crime will also be a top issue for Governor Moore, especially among Maryland's youth. Just last night, a 15-year-old was shot in his elbow right along Kingsley Street. That's in southwest Baltimore, and that marks 11 juvenile shots so far this year in Baltimore City. Shannon Lilly continues our live team coverage for us this morning with a closer look at what Governor Moore did and did not say about juvenile crime. Shannon.
Yeah, and a juvenile justice advocate we spoke to, Tom, feels like we were left hanging a bit during that inauguration speech because Governor Wes Moore failed to mention the juvenile crime crisis that we are seeing in the state and that a lot of Marylanders care about. And so advocates are wondering what the plan is moving forward.
He says we leave no one behind. Okay, but we're leaving children behind, and there's no conversation about what we're going to do. We have to stop and think and really do what's good for our kids and not what's good for the cameras.
Yeah, that was activist Kenji Scott, and he has spent years demanding lawmakers get serious about juvenile justice reforms, and he wants to see a plan to tackle this. Now, in his speech, Governor Wes Moore did talk about the personal scrap that he had with the law, but he fell short of mentioning Baltimore's crisis. But we did speak with political analyst John Deedy, and he believes the new governor's personal experience may provide a new approach. Listen.
This governor was a participant in the juvenile justice system as a child and living in the Bronx. So he may have a better handle than most other people how to solve this type of problem.
That's a good point there. And remember, during his campaign, Moore did promise to work to try to keep youth from being tried as adults moving forward in our criminal justice system in this state. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Shannon Lilly, Fox 45 Morning News.
Thank you, Shannon. And during last year's legislative session, lawmakers made changes to how the state treats young people who do commit crime. The effort was pushed by Senator Jill Carter. A law enforcement agency now says the changes are leading to juveniles escaping accountability. Senator Carter says changes are coming.
I'm hoping that we can do some clarification. I am looking to do some legislation to clarify what processes should happen in the event a child is accused of an act that would be a certain crime that's not covered.
Like bringing a gun to school?
Right, like that, and other things.
Senator Carter will be joining us live here in about 10 minutes, and we'll question her on the fallout of the juvenile justice reform.
Lawmakers in Annapolis are also considering a bill on gun control. Senate Bill 1 is the first bill to be considered this legislative session. It would make it illegal for wear and carry permit holders to carry a weapon within 100 feet of a public place. That includes restaurants, movie theaters, and other venues that have had mass shootings. This morning, critics are questioning the bill.
I'd say I have arrested probably 200 to 300 people for weapons charges. And out of those 200 to 300 weapons people that had charges for weapons, I honestly can only remember 2 who actually had valid gun licenses.
Well, the measure was introduced by Senator Jeff Waldstreicher, who represents Montgomery County. The bill does not provide any data used to show gun crimes would drop if the bill passes. So how will this impact legal gun owners? Well, here's Senator Waldstreicher.
The bill is not designed to restrict someone's right to self-defense or otherwise impact their ability to legally have and carry their firearm. The bill does not define where you can. It simply says and clarifies where you cannot.
Well, the FBI recorded over 208,000 crimes involving guns in 2021, but does not list if the assailant was a legal gun owner. Senate Bill 1 is set to be heard in about 2 weeks on the Senate floor. If it eventually passes, it's going to go to the House of Delegates.
7-Eleven now, and happening today, a group of parents will rally at the State House right in Annapolis, testifying about their negative experiences dealing with the state's troubled college savings plan. Since last spring, the 529, that program has blocked Maryland parents from accessing money that they need to pay their child's tuition. Today, families will be holding that rally in Annapolis before meeting with House of Delegates Appropriations Committee. Just last week, the state agency started to issue new statement balances using updated interest calculation formula, but the update is slashing a lot of savings by some $50,000, others up to $55,000.
I was shocked, angry, and so now I have to scramble to cover his tuition for money I thought I had available.
Now, Fox 45 News asked Maryland's 529 why some parents still do not have access to their accounts. We were given no answers. This afternoon, yeah, it's all about the Ravens. At the Under Armour Performance Center in Owings Mills, as General Manager Eric DeCosta and head coach John Harbaugh will be fielding questions about this season and next. And yeah, you see it, what we're focusing on right there. Big questions. Number 8, Lamar Jackson's future in Baltimore. Jackson's teammates were very vocal about wanting him to stay in Charm City. Press conference with Harbaugh and DeCosta will be at 2:30 this afternoon.
From our live center now this morning, we want to take you live to the White House, where a possible government default now looms over the Capitol. The nation is expected to hit its $31 trillion debt limit today. Republicans and Democrats have yet to find common ground. House Republicans are asking for spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit. White House not budging on their stance yet. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre saying the issue should not be used as political football.
That's exactly the way the founders designed Congress to work. Find the compromise and find the common sense compromise that puts us back onto a balanced budget.
There will not be any negotiations over the debt ceiling. We will not do that. It is their constitutional duty.
Well, in order to avoid defaulting, the Treasury Department will have to dip into its cash balances and then delay payments to certain pension funds. The measures will likely allow some breathing room until at least June.
Now, here's a look at the stories making headlines this hour. Renowned high school football coach, who's also city officer, school officer, catches the attention of the FBI. The 6 figures of overtime pay and discrepancies uncovered by Project Baltimore. Concerns and confusion surrounding the juvenile justice reform law that took effect in June. After the break, we speak live with the state senator who introduced the bill about youth violence and some possible clarifications. 7:13 is the time. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
We're tracking our next weather maker here on your Thursday morning. Overall, we've seen a few light showers in certain spots. Right now, looking out from the top of the Transamerica building, our Toyota Inner Harbor Skycam, seeing that cloud cover that is out there. The heaviest rain right now is right along the Mason-Dixon. You can see that kind of crossing from northern Baltimore into northern Harford County. Not a lot of us have seen much of the rain. A little bit south of D.C., a few showers there in Dale City and down into parts of Fredericksburg. So that's what we're seeing at this moment. And you can see the wider picture. There's definitely more rain that is on the way as that system moves closer to us from that cold front moving out of the mid-south. That's going to track into our area as we take you into the later part of the morning and afternoon. Overall, though, our hourly future scan not looking too bad, at least for the morning commute. Couple of light showers, looks to be the heaviest right around 9 a.m., pushing out of here through the noon hour, and then a couple of scattered showers as well. The heaviest rain coming about 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then another round of rain for this evening. This is 6 o'clock tonight, 6, 7 o'clock. Look at those areas in orange and yellow. That's indicating some more of that moderate rain that's going to roll through on the backside of that system. Let's check in with meteorologist Amy Aronson, who's out there in the storm tracker right now, seeing how things are looking. And Amy, we haven't seen the rain, but we know what's coming, especially with our future scan showing that.
Yeah, exactly, Justin. Now is the calm or the dry period before the rain gets here. If you can guess where we are, say good morning to Fells Point. We just arrived here dark and early this morning where things are quiet now. As you can see, no rain falling just yet. And not only are we not seeing the rain just yet today, we haven't seen any snowfall this season. I know this is a big hot topic right now. I did take a look at how much snow we've seen so far this year and this month and compared it to average, and we are well below where we should be. So if you take a look at this little graph here, a big fat 0 for January 2023. On average, during the month of January, it's typically one of our big snow months. We end up with just shy of 6.5 inches. And of course, we are well below that right now. So the big question is, where is the snow? Coming up in just about 20 minutes, we're going to take a look at the latest first snowfall on record. Plus, I'll give you continuous updates on what conditions look like out here in the roads in Baltimore City this morning. Justin?
Amy, you're driving right by the Cup, one of my favorite spots there in Fells Point. But overall, won't be able to hang out there, well, today, at least not this morning because I'm working. But taking a look at your bus stop forecast as the kids get out to the bus stop, maybe seeing a few showers here in the next couple of hours. A better chance for rain is as we get into the afternoon, and temperatures that'll be in the mid to upper 40s. Now, these numbers are closer to average than what we saw yesterday. Eastern Shore, you're actually going to be warmer, upper 40s and low to mid 50s. And the farther south you go, you can see those numbers in the lower 60s for southern Virginia, even down the ocean, about 52 today. Even with these temperatures that are coming down, notice on our temperature tracker, that red line, that's the average this time of year. So we're going to maintain above average numbers, even though this weekend we're talking about the colder air that's coming in. Checking your 7-day forecast. 49 today, breezy and windy tomorrow. We'll tick up a couple degrees to about 51, but then those mid 40s roll in for Saturday and Sunday. And Sunday afternoon and evening, we will see more of that rain right as we wrap up the weekend and head into early next week. Tom?
Thank you, Justin. Baltimore residents witnessing their homes destroyed by a sinkhole. Still ahead, what they're now being told, though, from Baltimore City. (7:23) and for this week's State House Spotlight, concerns and confusion surrounding the juvenile justice reform law that took effect in June. Some communities decrying the lack of consequences now for 12-year-olds and under who break the law. Joining us now to discuss the youth violence and possible clarifications, though, to this, State Senator Jill Carter. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. You introduced this bill in the Senate just about a year ago. It's gone through a lot of amendments, too, in those readings before it passed and before it came effective June 1st, though. And you've been asked, though, about this multiple times here recently because of what some jurisdictions are saying. You say you're looking to do some legislation to clarify what processes should happen in the event a child is accused of an act that would be a crime. Can you tell us what's been done since?
Well, certainly. Well, a couple of months ago, I pre-filed a bill, but I know I don't have a lot of time, but I want to stress this. The bill was a product, jointly filed, House and Senate, product of the Juvenile Justice Reform Council, a bipartisan group that decided these were best practices because Maryland was rated last in how it abused children in the juvenile and criminal justice systems. What this bill does is it sets finite terms for probation, and it sets a floor for when a child can be prosecuted. That does not mean that that child would not still be amenable to other accountability measures. It would require.
What would they be, though? Like, I think that's what a lot of the questions are. People are saying, well, okay, well, they're not going to go through the justice system here. What punishment would there be, or disciplinary actions? Do you know specifically what they would?
So it would determine on the situation and an assessment. So there is no confusion there should be none by the Department of Juvenile Services. They were in support of the legislation, and they are responsible for doing these assessments, these evaluations. But law enforcement, if they are confused or just contending to be confused, certainly has at their has the ability to file a petition for a child in need of supervision petition. They have they can file a child in need of supervision petition. They also can request or refer a child. DJS can refer a child to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. All of these agencies are equipped to assess the child and provide whatever might be needed.
Okay, Senator Carter, though, but Anne Arundel County, you know this. You've seen this, too, in the news, though. 7 pages with 12-year-olds and under with acts of violence. And Anne Arundel County Police said these children will not be tried for these things. They were saying something about assault, rape, all sorts of even carjacking, too, in with those 7 pages. You're saying that the police departments are confused about this law, not anybody else.
I believe so, because first of all, I'll clarify what the law says. It says that under the age of 13, a child would not be charged with an offense unless it would be a felony offense if they were an adult. So under 13 and over, that doesn't apply to them. I'm sorry. Now I'm getting confused. 10, the only children that cannot be charged with a serious, violent, or felony, what would be those crimes, an act that would be a 10 and under child.
Right.
Okay.
And so the 12-year-olds they were referring to should be if they were like the 9-year-old that shot and killed the 15-year-old on the porch of her house there with a gun. That 9-year-old would not be. There's different path for them. However, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds under this law should still be facing some.
If it would be a crime of violence or what would be a felony if they were an adult. But let me just say this. So I'm glad you brought up the 9-year-old, because the 9-year-old in the case of Nicaila Strouder, what I ascertained in talking with the family and others is that while we leave it to discretion of law enforcement agencies and Department of Juvenile Services to do something, what my recommendations and a modification of the law would be that now we would make it mandatory so that we would know that something would happen. Right now, we don't know what happens because it's confidential and it's up to the discretion. So this way, law enforcement wouldn't be confused because they'd be required to take an action.
And that would be a part of the other upcoming amendments then to this bill.
It's sort of not amendments, it's a new law. But anyway, I need to be clear about something. This law is best practices for the country, and there's not a person here that has a child that would commit a bad act that would want to think the best thing that could happen is them ripped away from their family, community, put in cuffs, and sitting at a trial table confronting witnesses against them. That is something that rarely happened for these young people anyway, because more often than not, they are determined incompetent to stand trial. So I want to make that clear. This idea that they can't be prosecuted, they were not, for the most part, being prosecuted anyway because of the fact that they are so young. I'm talking about the 10 and unders in particular.
10 and unders, yes, because there's different portions of this law that are coming in here. So maybe different police organizations may be grouping them together, where you're saying there's definitely dividing lines in this. However, some critics and some parents are saying this is a cultural issue, stating government is trying to parent our children, thus taking control away from parents and family to teach them right from wrong, especially among our young children.
What's interesting is that the legislation was a result of listening sessions across the state, listening to parents, families, communities, schools, prior to the legislation even being passed. So maybe there should be more education and more communication about the law, and maybe about the programs and services that are available. But certainly the idea that a kindergartner should be, again, put in a cell and put at a trial table is something that is a bad practice, no matter what the offense that is committed. But should that child be given services? Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what's in there arguing. Everyone's saying they definitely need some services. Kweisi Mfume, our congressman, said, I would strongly hope lawmakers in the House of Delegates and the Senate tackle some of these oddities in the law, especially about guns. What specifically will you change, though, keeping this law? Because there's been other delegates that have said we should scrap the whole thing and rewrite them. You, I know, have been working on this for quite some time, as you just said, getting it from public information. What specifically do you want to see changed in this law so there's less confusion?
A mandatory path for assessing, evaluating, and treating as opposed to leaving it discretionary. That's what it would be. But let me also say that, and we're talking about the new administration, the new Department of Juvenile Services has been on record in support of the policies that this law and Maryland is now moving toward in reforming our juvenile justice system. And so I'm looking at him being a great partner in making sure, one, that we keep in place the progress that we've already made, but also that in expanding those programs and services and treatment that's available through the Department of Juvenile Services.
We're out of time right now, but speaking with Senator Jill Carter, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Also happening in Annapolis right now, gun control bill that seeks to limit where Marylanders can legally carry their guns. And critics have a lot of questions.
Makes no sense to me whatsoever. We have some of the strictest gun laws in the country, in this state and in this city, yet we have the most violent major city in the country by far. Why do we not learn from this? I mean, it has nothing to do with the laws you put on your books.
Coming up in 20 minutes, discussion with the Senate Bill 1 with a former Baltimore police commissioner and the concerns surrounding it.
A city school officer racks up thousands in overtime, and that's caught the attention of the FBI. The indiscrepancies uncovered by Project Baltimore. It is 7:30 and you're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. 7:43, Baltimore residents who saw their homes destroyed by a sinkhole are now being told the city isn't required to regularly inspect its aging infrastructure. The sinkhole was caused by a century-old storm drain collapsing, but the city claims repairs are not necessary unless they receive prior notice about an issue. But here's the deal. The storm drain systems lead directly to the Chesapeake Bay, which, according to Maryland code, means they should be inspected at least once every 3 years.
How do I know that there's a pipe running underneath the properties? I don't know that. So if I had X-ray vision or see through the ground or could see the future, possibly, yeah, I could have let you know. But that's just unbelievable.
Fox 45 News filed a request to see the latest inspection report for this particular storm drain. We're still waiting to hear back. We are awaiting a big decision from New Mexico prosecutors. Will charges be brought against actor Alec Baldwin after that deadly film set shooting? But first, Maryland lawmakers could take action on gun control in about 2 weeks. Coming up, the bill that would limit where guns could be carried in public and the concerns surrounding this move. It is 7:45. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. 7:51 is your time right now. Our next weather maker is what we're tracking. Not seeing a lot of rain right now. You can see some cloud cover out there. A few light showers basically have been around northern parts of Maryland and up and toward the northeast as well. When you pull out a little bit further, a few more showers developing south of Baltimore. So they're going to move closer to Anne Arundel County, down through D.C. is what we're seeing at this time. And then more of the rain developing as we head into the later part of the morning and especially later this afternoon. That's all part of our next weather maker. Putting that thing into motion, our future scan, you can see some of those showers by 9 a.m. Right around the noon hour, a couple of spotty showers, but looks to be the heaviest rain around 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then another round of that heavier rain by about 6, 7 o'clock this evening. So we will get in on the rain. Amy, we have talked about the lack of snow. I've not gotten any emails saying, man, I wish there was snow. So what the heck's going on?
Yeah, it's been kind of an unusually mild winter. If anything, I'm getting emails thanking me for the lack of snow and the milder temperatures. We're here at the Chevy Weather Authority Storm Tracker, though, in Fells Point, where it is still quiet this morning. We're still awaiting the rain. You can see the clouds draped overhead the harbor here, and lots of folks are out and about walking their dogs and taking runs this morning and taking advantage of the dry conditions before that rain gets here. But yeah, I think the big story this winter is where the heck is all the snow. If we take a look back at the latest
first snowfall on record, February 21st in 1973. So we are still a little ways away from that record, but we're not tracking any snow, at least in the short term here. On average, we typically see our first snow around December 10th. So of course, we're also well past that. Now we are going to hang out in the city. We're actually going to head over to Canton next hour, see what the conditions look like there. So we'll give you a look at that. And we're also going to talk more about some records in terms of our latest first snowfall for the past 10 years coming up during the 8 o'clock hour. Justin?
All right, thanks, Amy. I love how we still have that Raven stencil on the storm tracker. We were out there getting that last week, and it hasn't washed off yet, so we definitely like that. All right, let's take a look. Our temperatures today are going to stay above average, even though it's a little bit cooler. More of those rain showers will be rolling in later this afternoon and evening, as we talked about, but really no snow in sight. Breezy and windy tomorrow, a little bit warmer, but the cold air's coming in. Saturday and Sunday, we're talking about highs only in the 40s. Meg?
All right, Justin, thank you. It's a big day for our nation as lawmakers try to avoid hitting the debt limit. We have a live report from Washington coming up. But first, we're hitting the coffee machine because there is no limit to our coffee breaks.